Hi guys, welcome back to the Player YouTube channel, and this week's car, if you haven't already guessed yet, is the Ford Mach-E. It was originally launched in 2019 and it came out onto the streets in 2020, quite late in 2020 actually. It's Ford's electric compact crossover, that's how they describe it. And it carries a bit of an iconic name to it because you won't find any Ford badges on this car, apart from a little one here and there on the windscreen, just to identify that it is actually a Ford, because it carries the Mustang name. And the Mustang is one of my all-time favourite cars ever. So it really has a lot to live up to. Whether it's going to be able to do that or not, who knows? We're going to find out in this video. Can this car not only live up to its reputation and also its iconic name, but is it a worthwhile buy? We need to find out. Let's get around it, let's get out on the road and give you our opinion. First up, I just want to get something off my chest with this car because I'm a big Mustang lover. Since 1964 I have loved these cars, and unfortunately this to me isn't a Mustang. I'm really sorry. We'll go into that in the rest of this video, but for the remainder of the video I will regard this as the Ford Mach-E. It's the only way I can call it. It's just like a giant Ford Focus. Let's be honest, guys, come on. It's been given like these big tractor tyres on it. It's sort of like a lot higher. It's not a Mustang. Okay, so I've had my rant, I'm finished on that. Now let's talk some sensible things about this car, because it's got a lot of nice bits and pieces on it. I don't want to, you know, forfeit all that over just a name. So let's carry on and do it right. 18-inch rims on the entry-level car. You can get 19s and you can get 20s, but you've got to go up the trim levels. Talk about trim levels a little bit later. Let's take a look down the side of the car. The profile of the car, yet again, as I say, a little bit Ford Focusy on steroids. That's the only way I can put it. It's got a few nice lines. One thing I do like about this car is the little push button doors that you've got. It's like a little button that looks like, you remember those old iPhones at the bottom, you had a little button. It looks just like that, and it pops open nicely. How easy and nice is that? Look, just touch it once and it opens. Every time I do that, it's sucking battery power. Why don't you just put a handle on there, Ford? Why do we have to have all this technology? It doesn't sell it to me. It's just making me think, oh, more battery going, less range, yeah? And the same thing on the front here. And yet this time, instead of just being able to go and open it up here, like that one, you now have an appendage here. It's like a handle. It's like an afterthought. That's the only way I can think about this. It's an afterthought. One good thing about this car, it does come with keyless ignition and keyless entry. However, there is an app for your mobile phone that will actually open this car and allow you to drive it home without using any key. It's fantastic, and all you have to do is download the app and it all works lovely. What happens though, let's just say you haven't got the key and you're using your phone and you're out and about and your battery dies, or God forbid some idiot steals your phone. Now you're really stuck. No, Ford have thought of that. Up here, if you just touch like that, you will see, there you go, all of that is lit up, key code. So you can put in your own personal key code, it will open the door, then the car will give you another key code which you tap in and you can drive home. That's pretty cool. Non-foldy-any mirrors. No-nos. You need foldy-any mirrors because today the streets are getting thinner, cars are getting bigger and wider, obviously. This is going to get smashed in one go. It's going to cost hundreds of pounds to replace, when for the sake of a little motor that winds it in like that, job done. Another thing that I don't like on this car, have you seen like these massive great plastic surrounds that go around, and there's plastic all along the bottom and again plastic all around the back there with, yes, these are reflectors. They're not even indicators, they're just like bicycle reflectors they've put in there. Really horrible, don't like those at all. Round at the front here you do get some really nice, I've got to be, you know, there's a few nice bits about this car. LEDs, check those out, really, you know, really nice. Let's say that, but categorically nice they are. I like the bonnet. I think the bonnet is a lovely shape as well. It's really nicely designed, that. All of this car was designed by an Italian, would you believe? There you go. I'll fill that bit in for you later on somewhere. I'm gonna hide that badge like that. I'm gonna put my foot in front of it because we said that earlier. We're not gonna go over that again. Bit of aero around at the front. Down the bottom here, you've got an auto louvre system. So when it gets a little bit warm under there, it will open those automatically and now allow some cool air through there. Do you like the black? I do. You know why I love this black? Because it's part of the price. You don't have to pay any extra. If you want any other colour, £1,150 extra. Yeah, I think you like the black, don't you? With the Mach-E, there are 3 different models to choose from and a couple of different battery choices. Your models are your entry-level car, which is a rear-wheel drive car. It comes with a 75 kilowatt battery and will give you a range of around 273 miles, which is not bad, to be honest with you. However, price-wise, it will set you back 41,000 UK pounds. Yes, I did say 41,000 UK pounds, quite a lot of money. Jumping up if you want all-wheel drive, however, you will get less mileage out of this car because it has 2 motors, so therefore it's going to use up a lot more juice. So you still end up with around about 250 miles of range and a car that will cost you around 49,000 UK pounds. So you're paying quite a bit extra for that. And don't forget, with any of these prices I'm quoting you, you can add packs to them, you know, sound packs and other packs that you can buy, and that will push the price up. So I'm giving you the entry-level prices that are current with Ford at the time of filming. If you really want to go for the range-topping GT, well, if you're going to part with 65,000 UK pounds, you're going to expect something a little bit special. You will get the top of the range, and when I mean range, you will get the top of the range, which is 310 miles, which is very, very good indeed. However, if you're looking for performance, look no further, because you'll get a 0 to 60 time of around about 3.75 seconds and a top speed of 125 miles limited. And I say limited because if you find a way of unlimiting that, I think this car will just keep going and going and going. The only thing you will notice with all of these prices, they are way over the threshold here in the UK for a government subsidy. So don't even think about getting your £2,500 government subsidy that you would get if it was under that 40,000 limit. One of the good things, you are still eligible for a home charger subsidy, which is great because they do cost a lot of money. You're talking sort of upwards of 900 UK pounds to have a home charger put in. And you're obviously going to want one of them if you're buying one of these. But you will get a £350 grant towards one of those. So it does help a little bit. Charging times, we'll talk about in a minute. Right, let's check out under the bonnet, and don't expect an engine, obviously. The bonnet release catch is down here in the passenger footwell. If it's a left-hand drive car, it's going to be in the driver's footwell, so they're not going to move it over. It's a double pull. You know, like a BMW, you have to double pull it because there's no catch here in the middle. So that makes life nice and easy. You don't have to fiddle for the catch. You've got the gas struts, just perfect. You've got 81 litres of boot space in here, which is more than enough to keep all your cables, the charging cables, and potentially a weekend bag if you got rid of some of this plastic stuff that's around here. In the States, they actually sell this as a potential beer fridge. But I thought about that. I thought, imagine you're driving along, you get pulled over for some unapparent reason, and the policeman says, "Do you mind me having a look under your bonnet?" And I'm like, not too sure about that. And then lifts it up, and there's 50, 60 cans of beer in there because it's quite a large space. I wonder what he'd actually say about that. Another thing that I found very curious inside the beer fridge, as we'll call it, there's an escape button over there. It's even day glow as well, where it glows in the dark, so you can see it if you're in here. Now, I'm looking at the size and I'm thinking, well, unless you're married to a contortionist wife, for example, who's going to throw herself in here, you're going to drive down the motorway for a couple of hours. She then lets herself out while you stop for a quick pee and a packet of cigarettes and jumps back in before you even know she's been gone. Either that or you're going to kidnap a dwarf. There's a number of safety aids that you get as standard with the Mach-E. Obviously, you've got your cruise control, you've got lane keeping, you've got distance control as well. You've got auto high beam dipping. And another thing I've noticed is the blind spot mirrors, which I think are the most probably essential part of today's modern driving. All these other bits and pieces are really nice, but do we need them essentially? Maybe not. You get sign recognition on here. And the one thing I think I like about the whole car is that if you do get into a situation, this car will autonomously brake for you. It's got like an anti-collision avoidance system as well. So, and all of that seems to be not as, what's the word? I was going to say tetchy, but sensitive, I think is a better word, because you do find on some cars it can be very, very sensitive indeed. When it comes to parking this car, you have parking assistance, you have the beepers front and rear, and you also get a decent reverse camera. Let's have a look up front, see what it's like for the driver. I mean, I must admit straight away, it's quite comfortable. Keyless entry, keyless ignition. There is a start button here, so if you put your foot on the brake and just push that, everything will fire up. It's going to start telling me off for things like leaving the door open, not putting my seatbelt on. It seems to be overprotective of the driver, and you can hear that noise. Sounds a bit like sort of like, you know, waiting for something to happen music, sort of expectant music. I don't like that. And you can turn that off as well. So let's get started. You probably can't miss that. It's a 15.5-inch touchscreen. Obviously very reminiscent of the Tesla version of this, you know, of this type of screen. It's okay. I'd like it to be angled a little bit more towards me. I think it'd be nicer towards the driver. One thing I love about it is this big knob down the bottom, because guys, you know I love a decent knob, and this one really has. Apparently, a lot of people that were questioning about how they would like this, you know, setup said they'd like a big volume knob on there, and that's what you've ended up with, which is pretty decent actually. It's when you get in and you're fumbling about with things, what you don't need to be doing is pushing buttons like to get your temperature up and not being able to do it because your gloves are on. With the sound and everything, you can get your tunes going, get yourself all nicely relaxed and ready for your drive. You haven't got to take your gloves off. There you go. It's just a personal thing. You get a 10-inch screen here in the centre. This is like your cockpit screen here. I've got the driver's door open. Before I shut it, what I'm going to do is just explain over here. Your lighting panel's just down here. I've got it set to auto. There is, you know, it's very easy. You've got also on here are your fog lights front and rear as well. Simple as. And then on the left-hand side, believe it or not, they've put a maximum air conditioning button for the front screen. But it's there, at least we know where it is. So I'll pull that too, and then that should clear, and it's asking me to put the seat belts on. It's telling me there's one passenger in here, 100%, 231 miles currently, okay? So it gives you the basic bits and pieces across there. To be honest, this whole system here is quite basic, but I like it. I like basic. On the right-hand side here is your media control on the actual right-hand side. Just cover that up for a second. It's just so lovely. It's just a shame it's on this car. I won't keep going on about it. So yeah, media control here. You've got up and left and right here on your channels. So whatever you're listening to at the time, whether it be your iPhone, so you're listening to your tunes, or whether you're in your DAB radio, you can move one either track to track or station to station. Volume up and down, simple as. And then bottom, top right hand or top left hand corner is your Ask Ford button. Is about the only way I can call it. So you push that and you can have it pre-programmed with certain things, or just ask it to change the temperature, things like that. It's quite nice to have it on there, but at the end of the day, not that necessary, I don't think. Left-hand side here, well, this is a little bit more different. You've got all your sort of lane keepy, distance control, cruise control, sets button in the middle there. It's all on there. Really, really nice. I like that. That's, again, very simple to use. As soon as you push that, things start to come up in here on the control panel itself. Easy, very easy. In the centre here, well, again, very easy. You've got park, reverse, neutral and drive. And it's as simple as that. So you just turn to which way. You've got to put your foot on the brake first, and then you can turn and reverse, neutral, drive. It's just a simple selector. Again, a really nice knob. Can't beat a decent knob, guys. You know that. I'm going to leave it in park for a minute. Inside here, I like this actual parcel shelf. It's not a parcel shelf. It's got nice armrest. There you go. But I like the fact you've got a little slider in there. And in here, you've got a 12-volt adapter. And it's a decent size cubby. I'll give it that. Really decent size. We'll fold that back down. You can just set that there. You've got your handbrake here. Then you've got your parking control here. In front of that, double cup holder. And then in front of that, you've got a wireless charger for your iPhone, which is nice as well. And for those that don't have wireless iPhones, you can use the USB and the USB-C, which are at the front there. I like the fact that Ford have pre-thought that at the moment we're still using the old USB, so it's still nice to have that. However, they've looked ahead for the future with the USB-C that's in there. All the controls on here, again, very simple. All your heating is at the lower panel down there. And what you do have are various sort of bits and pieces that I'm going to show you very quickly. So you've got your modes, you've got whisper, you've got active, and then you've got untamed. And each one of them, basically, it's economy, normal, and sport mode. That's they've just named them like horses for some reason. I don't get that. As if on cue in the background, my horse has just agreed with me. One pedal drive, you can have this, it depends how you like to drive your electric car. One pedal drive allows you to creep forward, but it will almost autonomously brake itself. It's the regen at its full maximum. Regen being that curve system that takes the energy and pumps it back into the battery and, you know, hopefully gives it a little bit more charge and a bit more range. I leave it on, I quite like it. You can almost, as I say, you can almost use it to brake if you can time the distance. It's quite good fun as well. And you get a propulsion sound, you can see that there. So in the Untamed, what the guys at Ford did, they went to some of the Hollywood movies and looked at some of the sounds of cars, and they've actually recorded them and put them into that sound. So as you're driving along, it's sort of a mixture of cars that, you know, it sounds like a car, but it doesn't. That's the only way I can really describe it. Whisper mode, like I say, is your economy mode, so it's going to be less on your accelerator, and pretty much you're going to leave it in the active mode, which is most of the time that you're driving around town. It's much better. The whisper mode will give you better turning ability as well. It frees up the steering a little bit. You've got so many bits and pieces on here. I could spend the next 40 minutes just showing you how all the bits and pieces work, but I do like the sound system on there. You get a sound bar at the front here for some as one of the extra packs. It's a really nice 10-speaker surround system in here as well, and you can set all that up with your different controls and settings that you've got in there. Let's take a quick look in the glove box, because as I said, I don't want to bore you with that. That will just keep going and going. Inside here, it's a decent size. We've been given a couple of day glow vests in case we're going somewhere where we need day glow vests. You do get a very sort of thin, well, there's nothing in here really. There's a little tiny book, which I'm quite happy about because the manuals are all on here anyway. So if you want to know anything about this car, you can just go straight in here and ask it, or just you know, get your phone and ask someone on YouTube. Aha, see, I knew there was a link there somewhere. It's not the biggest glove box in the world, and to be honest, I don't see any reason why you need your day glow vests kept in there. However, the finish on this car is actually quite nice. I think it's got a really, I like all these bits and pieces around here. I like where the buttons are, everything is located. You've got your lighting stalk over here, very easy. You've got your dip beam, and this has got auto dip beam as well, which is really handy because you can just put it on full beam, and anyone coming round, it will always sort of, you know, anticipate other cars, and when you're coming into a lighted up area, it will drop it back to the normal beam. I really like that. On the right hand side, you've got the rear windscreen wiper and the front windscreen wipers. You know, very, very simple stuff, guys. I love it. That's probably one of the best things about this car is, at the end of the day, it's simple and easy to use. Charging times on the Mach-E vary dependent on the battery that you're charging, because there are the two batteries. So if you're on a 75 kilowatt standard battery, on a home charger of 7 kilowatts, which is the norm here in the UK, you would be looking at around about 9 hours to get a full charge out of the battery. So if you've been driving it all day, you come home from work, you can put it straight on charge, and by the time you wake up in the morning, it'd be fully charged and ready to go again. It puts roughly, to give you an idea, about 30 miles every hour back into the battery. Now don't forget, if you're on the longer range 98 kilowatt battery, it's going to take a little bit longer than that. You're looking at around about 13 hours on a home charger to fully charge it, which again is still not too bad, considering if you put it on charge when you get home from work, you're going to be at least 12-13 hours before you use the car again, unless you pop out in the evening, of course. If you are out and about and you've got access to a fast charger, this car can be charged, depending again on which battery, between 38 and 48 minutes. So that's pretty good. That's on a rapid charge. Right, let's check it out in the back for the passengers. Before I jump in, I always like to see what the rake is on the door, to see if it's nice and easy to get in, to put, you know, baby seats in and things like that. And I've got to say, it's quite a decent angle on there. Another thing which is good is the window comes almost all the way down, as you can see. I've managed to drop it to show you. It's also got privacy glass on this car as well. I like that. It's really nice in the summer. Okay, let's see what it's like in the back here. Seat is in the usual position for me driving. First thing I've noticed is there's quite a lot of gap here between my knee and the actual seat itself. You almost tend to feel like it's sort of pushing you back, like you want to sit back like that. Hey ho, it might not be the most comfortable place to sit for a few hours, but nevertheless you do get a lot of headspace in here. was obviously designed in America, and American people generally are quite tall, and I think they've obviously allowed for that in the design in here. All in all though, really nice. I love the finish on the car. It's got some nice leather on it, or artificial leather, whichever way. In the centre here, you do get kind of independent heating. You can turn it on and off, the amount of air that's coming through, and you can kind of direct it, but that's about it. And for a car of what you're paying for this, I think they could have done better and put some buttons in here where you can actually change the heating temperature. Below that though, you do get a single USB, and you also get a USB-C, which is nice to have. So it means any kids in the back here of a certain age who want to, you know, recharge their bits and pieces, they can plug straight in there, no problem at all. Recessed seat belts as well in the back here, that's nice. And also the ISOFIX points are hidden just behind these very nicely styled and sewn slits. I had to be very careful how I said that, but I'm sure you get the idea. So you've got two ISOFIX points either side and a couple of child seats in the back here, no problem at all. In the centre here, you do get a pull-down armrest with a double cup holder. That's nice. There is no ski rack in here because obviously, if you're in America, you'd have a big, you know, a big SUV or an RV to go skiing in. You wouldn't be taking your Ford Mach-E. I do like the finish on these seats as well, the actual styling, and I like the way that the seat belts sit nicely over the sides here as well, but that will be a bit of a hindrance when we put the seats down in a minute. I'll show you what I'm talking about. But all in all, there's no transmission tunnel in the middle here. I had to think about that one as well. So let's see if it is comfortable in the middle. Again, a little bit hard on the posterior, but still loads and loads of headroom. I also like, wanted to mention these, I like these little courtesy lights as well because they're perfect for reading, not just lighting up in the back here. Let's take a look around the back and see what we think of the rear of the car and how much boot space you get. So let's check around the back in the boot and have a look what it looks like from behind. And initially, yes, it's a really good looking behind. This car is, I don't know, it's sort of got its angles. At certain angles, I really like it. The rest of it, as you probably know, I'm not over keen on. But looking at the top, bit of drag coefficiency going on here. You've got a decent spoiler on the top here with a brake light built in there. A very, very short rear screen here. Really difficult to see out from the front when you're reversing. Totally reliant pretty much on the sensors and the camera that comes with this car. However, it is a floaty rear screen, which means you don't get the rubber that runs around. It gives it a much better line, and it also doesn't allow the water to stay within that rubber and rot away to the metal, which is good. Get a rear wash and wipe, which is good. Absolutely bog standard these days. No fakery around the back, so you don't need any fake exhaust or anything like that. But generally, I think it's not a bad looking rear on this car. You can get the swipey rear boot, the automatic one when you swipe and you've got shopping and stuff. You have to pay for that. It comes as part of a pack. So this one doesn't have it. If you want to release it, there's just a little button down there. Push that, and very easy to lift, as you can see. It comes with, well, it's like a parcel material. That's the only, it's not a parcel shelf and it's not a blind, but it does pop out and it does go underneath. So we like it because that could be the way forward. It's protecting the back here so you can't see what's in the car if you have got valuables in here. But at the same time, it's quite easy to get rid of. You just pop it out. Well, first up, you've got to unhook it here, just round the side here. It's a little bit awkward because when you try and pull it back, it tends not to give that much. So you can get it, there you go. And then this side's pretty much the same as well. It's got a little bit more slack on this side for some reason, so it makes it easier, but it's still quite awkward to ping it off the, there you go, it's done it now. And then you just lift it off either side here. It's quite easy to get out. So all in all, yeah, it's not bad. And then you've got, on the boot floor here, it's got a double level on it. So you can pop it up there and it'll stay up on its own accord, and you can pop that straight in the back there like that, which is good. And it now means it's not going to be in the way if you've got to put things in there like bicycles or prams, pushchairs, things like that. Unfortunately, this car does not have a space saver wheel. It's just not enough room in the back for it. I think it's because the battery sort of extends underneath here, so it's very flat. What you do get is that horrible puncture repair kit, you know, with the gloves and the liquid that doesn't work, and the pump. I mean, look at the size of this pump, guys. Seriously? The weight of that as well is unbelievable. So, yeah, just throw it away, get some run flats at the end of the day, and we can save, you know, it's just more money for no reason. Because if you're going to hit a wheel, say you curb it somewhere, you're not going to be able to put latex in it and pump it up. You know, you're going nowhere, so you're going to end up calling the rescue services to come and get you. Anyway, so like I say, dual level on the boot floor here. I'm going to leave it on the upper one. There is quite a lip here, especially when you go on the level down. There's even more of a gap, but there's a lip here, so anything you're putting in and out of here, you're going to scratch all over here, unfortunately. It's just the nature of the design of this car, unfortunately. Well, look, you've got some straps here, some tie-offs. There's another tie-off over there. You've got a little courtesy light in there. 12-volt adapter over here, which is nice. That's handy for, you know, doing your bicycles and things like that, putting air in the tyres. Plug in there, great. You've got the shopping bag holders either side there. Again, I quite like them. They're handy. They really are, especially if you're going to put a couple of bags in the back here. 401 litres of boot space. It's not the biggest, but it feels bigger for some reason. It feels a lot bigger. I'm going to drop the seats down. There's 60-40 split. There's nowhere to put them down here. You really have to reach forward and push the button on the side there. You've got one down over there. I'm going to do this one over here like that. They're quite tight, but once they go down, a decent size in there. It's not bad at all. Whatever you're going to be carrying, I think you're going to be more than happy because there's plenty of length as well. This car's quite long. So with the Mach-E, you get a 3-year or 60,000 mile warranty, which isn't too bad. I think it could be a little bit better given the price that you're actually paying for the product. However, you can extend that 3 years to either 5 years or up to 8 years or 100,000 miles. So you've got the options there if you want to. Comes with a 12-year anti-corrosion warranty. That's pretty good. And most essentially, in my opinion, is an 8-year or 100,000 mile battery warranty. Because if you're going to be selling this car on, I think that would be one of my big concerns buying second-hand. I'd want a warranty on the battery. Servicing is slightly different to a combustion engine due to the lack of parts, so to speak. So you are talking 24,850 miles or 2 years for your service on one of these cars. So there you have it, guys. That was the Ford Mach-E. And to be honest, it's not a bad car. I just think it's slightly overpriced. It's not as comfortable as I'd like it to be. And it just doesn't do it for me in the looks department. We can't all be the same, so there you go. It's up to you, and I suggest that if you were going to go down and take one for a test drive, make sure you take out the standard entry-level model first, because I think that is the most important one. The other ones, obviously jumping up in that price bracket, are probably just going to be priced themselves out of the market a little bit. But this one, it could be in your top 5 or top 10, whichever you prefer. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget, like, subscribe and comment. If you've got any comments or anything or any questions that you want to ask, just stick them in the comment box and one of us will get back to you in due course. Don't forget, if you can give us a big thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. Don't get paid any extra, no bonuses, but get a pat on the back from the bosses and the sponsors, and they know that we've done a good job because you liked it. That's why you gave us a thumbs up. So I'd really appreciate that. If you want to subscribe, that would be great as well. Leave the bell sign unchecked because you'll get regular updates on all the videos that we put up, and there are a number of those, at least one a week, sometimes 2 a week. And they're not just cars, they could be boats, they could be interviews. We do a number of different things because we're part of The Player, and The Player's a much bigger organisation. It's not just a YouTube channel with me, it's a magazine. Well, it's a bookazine for men, a 228-page bookazine called The Player, ironically. And you can get one, you can get a copy of it, well, an online version of it. You can't get the actual book itself because they're £100 each. But you can have the online version because you watch me on YouTube for free. All you've got to do is go to www.theplayer.co.uk. Hang on a minute. There you go. I'm going to bring it in there now. It's just going to sit there for a couple of minutes so you can memorise it. No data capture. Head over there. Just go to the subscribe button. It's up at the top somewhere. I'm sure you can find it. And just put in your email and your name, and you can either download it or you can view the whole thing online. And as I said, there's 228 pages of jet skis, boats, motorcycles, cars, interviews, food, wine, golf, everything us guys absolutely love. It's all in that book, and it's yours for free. No strings attached. Thanks for watching again, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be back with something different next week. Who knows what it'll be? I certainly don't know. In the meantime, take care out there and be safe.